Straight draw here. This is going to be our final playoff holes edition for Tour 8, Vineyard Acres, until Golf Clash changes Tour 8 on us. Here we are on hole 2 on Vineyard Acres, and this standard setup is really easy. It's 4 bars of backspin. You'll notice that I put 4.5 on there. That's the straight draw 10-to-1 rule because there's 5 mile per hour of tailwind. This is 20% downhill, but it's medium distance for our club. And remember, the sniper has a 1.2 mile per hour per ring factor. So all I do is I adjust exactly the same number of rings as there are mile per hour, and then the ball is going to land on the fringe and roll to the hole. Okay, so here's another shot. Again, I'll adjust exactly 5.3 rings, use exactly 4 bars of backspin. The landing zone is perfect. That's the great thing about this shot for the sniper level 9 or 10. The landing zone they give you is perfect. Use 4 bars of backspin and then adjust just the exact number of rings. Also use the straight draw 10-to-1 rule. So you'll notice that I'm leaning slightly into the wind to the left. And if you hit it perfect, it bounces. Second bounce is on the fringe and it rolls down to the cup. So this is Vineyard Acres, hole number 4. And now this one is surprisingly far downhill. The adjustment that I'm going to use is miles per hour plus 10%. Now we're hitting at the medium distance of our club, so this is going to be about a 25% downhill adjustment. But again, I'm going to use about 11.2 rings here, adding 1.0 to the 10.2. And then I'm always going to use as much backspin as possible because that allows me to land on the green or the fringe and roll to the hole. So here's a second shot. This is 5.5 miles per hour. So notice the straight draw 10-to-1 rule. I'm going to add back in about half a bar less backspin. So I'm going to do about 6 rings, right? 5.5 times 1.1 is about 6. So 6 bars, 6 rings of adjustment, and then there I'm switching to about 5, half a bar less of backspin. That's the straight draw 10-to-1 rule. And we're always just lining up the ball guide to the hole and hopefully ending up that close. Now with a big tailwind, you're going to have to play this from a bit further away. So notice I'm going to go ahead and use the tip of my ball guide to position this, but I'm going to use about 0.9 bars of backspin less than my full backspin. I'm going to add that in later, but I get my distance adjusted. I get my shot lined up by using the ball guide to the edge of the hole. There I did 10 rings, 9.1 times 1.1 is 10. And so then I added in the additional 0.9 bars of backspin and roll to the hole. So the last hole on the tour here is Vineyard Acres 8, and this is the one that's going to make you question your decision to play power 0 because you get caught between clubs. Any kind of headwind is a real problem. Standard setup here is 4.5 bars of backspin and exactly 10% downhill, so I'm adjusting the same number of rings as I have mile per hour, so that would have been a 5.9 adjustment. And I'm adding a little bit of backspin there, but I'm at 4.5. I've been upping my backspin just slightly lately to keep from going too far past the hole. And that's what you want to do. You want to aim a little bit to the left because it will tail to the right. Okay, so we've got another look here. This is going to be 5.9 mile per hour adjustment, but it's going to be into the wind. So you can see there that we're at the max distance of our club, just barely catching the front 3 or 4 yards of that green, of that fairway. So we're going to make our adjustment and keep an eye on how much. See, there's about 3 rings of additional length needed. So when you go here, you want the tip of your needle to be at the tip of the top of that blue ring. That adds 3 rings of extra distance. That gets you right onto the edge of that fairway, and then we can roll to the hole. Now I have to give GC Tommy the hat tip on that, finding out how many extra rings of overpower you get by looking at how far up the needle is swinging. But here's the basic setup. I'm going to use 4.5 bars of backspin, generally speaking. So this is going to need like 5.5. I'm sorry, this is going to need about 3.5 because we're hitting into a headwind. And then I make the adjustment as best I can, and it's difficult because I keep switching over into the quarterback here. So I get it as close as I can, and now I need about 8 rings of overpower. So I think I just hit full overpower on this. And again, you want to aim about a yard to the left because this ball is going to bounce and then it's going to tail to the right. You see it tailing in to the right there. And again, with a big headwind, this is really, really difficult. I've hit a lot of these in the sand trap. It's hard to hit perfect needle when you're max overpowering into a headwind. There are headwinds that you can't even reach. If you get a 12-mile-an-hour headwind, you might not even be able to reach the edge of the fairway. So again, this is one that will have you questioning your life as a Power Zero golf ball aficionado on Tour 8. But most of the time we can get something that's going to work. So this is this is Vineyard Acres on Tour 8 with the Power Zero playoff holes. Good luck, have fun, play free, straight draw out.